Artur Beterbiev has been ordered to face Marcus Browne in a WBC light heavyweight title defense. The two sides have until September 17th to reach a deal before purse bids are called. Now, I watched G-Man's video on this, and he was talking about how this is basically a kick in the teeth for Dillian Whyte because Marcus Browne has been pretty inactive, and he manages to get a mandatory shot just like that. So if we have a look at Marcus Browne's record here, he did fight in April this year, but that was only against Denis Grachev. Denis Grachev is no great shakes. Who has Denis Grachev fought? I think Lucian Bute back in the days, maybe a few other people, but he doesn't have a particularly good record. He's 20-12 with one draw. Prior to that, Marcus Browne fought Jean Pascal, and that was in 2019. So, as I say, he's had one fight since 2019, Marcus Browne, and he manages to get his mandatory shot, but Dillian Whyte can't. Now, Dillian Whyte, of course, did take that loss to Alexander Povetkin, but he righted that wrong straight away. All I'll say is, I don't blame Dillian Whyte for being as forceful as he is and taking the WBC to court, doing whatever he feels he has to do to try and get that mandatory. But the WBC and all the other sanctioning bodies will typically act favorably for fighters who don't give them a lot of hassle. I don't think Marcus Browne, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I am wrong. Somebody can let me know in the comments below if that's the case, but as far as I'm aware, Marcus Browne hasn't been hassling the WBC over the past few years, calling them out on social media, starting campaigns and getting the fans behind the campaign and getting them to message Mauricio Sulaiman and all this kind of stuff. That kind of thing can work against you. There is a point where being forceful, bullish, etc. can actually be counterproductive. For the most part, it's going to help you, particularly in a sport like boxing, but you have to have some tact about you. You know, you have to be diplomatic in certain situations because you do have, as I say, sanctioning bodies, promoters, television networks, and so on, which you are kind of beholden to some degree, to one degree or another, depending on the entity in question. In this case, it's the WBC, and I can't help but feel as though the WBC don't really want to expedite Dillian Whyte's title shot because of the way he's carrying on. You know, again, nothing wrong with the way he's carrying on. He deserves to get his title shot. But people have egos, you know? People have pride and they might feel slighted by you. They might feel disrespected by you, even if they're in the wrong. That's just human nature. That's life. So we'll see where it goes for Dillian Whyte. But as for Marcus Browne versus Artur Beterbiev, despite the fact that Marcus Browne has been very inactive over the past couple years, I actually liked the fight. I wasn't impressed by Beterbiev's last performance. Marcus Browne has always impressed me in terms of his athleticism, his boxing skills, his speed. His major drawback, I would say, has been punch resistance because he hasn't reacted that well when he's been clocked clean. And Artur Beterbiev, as we all know, is a very heavy-handed guy, powerful guy. So I think it's a fascinating stylistic matchup between the much faster, taller, more athletic Marcus Browne and the more rugged, I'm going to say perhaps physically stronger, more durable, perhaps harder hitting Artur Beterbiev. I mean, I think Artur Beterbiev does hit hard, but I wouldn't underestimate Marcus Browne's punching power either. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think about it in the comments below. The Artur Beterbiev, Marcus Browne fight. How do you see it going? Do you think that Marcus Browne has got a better chance than I'm sure the bookies will give him? Because I'm expecting Artur Beterbiev to be a pretty firm favorite here. I don't think the bookies are really going to give him a great shot at this. But he is a southpaw, 6'1", 75.5-inch reach. So he's definitely got the reach and the arm length on Artur Beterbiev. Can he stay out of the way he did against Badu Jack? Pepper Artur Beterbiev from long range and do a similar job? Stranger things have happened. You know, Marcus Browne is a very, very talented fighter. So we'll see. I think the activity, of course, against better opposition is going to favor Artur Beterbiev. But as I say, Marcus Browne did fight earlier on this year, and that was a UD against Denis Grachev. Obviously, people are going to say you'd like to see him stop a guy like Grachev. But the other side of that argument would be, it's better for him to get the rounds. You know, if you're somebody who's been inactive, you haven't fought in a couple of years, then you want to get in there and get some rounds in. It's not going to do you much good to be blasting somebody out in 1 or 2 when you've been inactive. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Beterbiev versus Browne, and also Dillian Whyte's situation. Is he going to look at this and feel aggrieved? Is he going to take this to his lawyers? You see, the way that the rules of the WBC and the other sanctioning bodies, and if you want to find out what their rules are, just go to their websites. You can easily have a look at the PDF. You know, a lot of them have got PDFs you can download where all their rules are set out. And they're set out in such a way as to be deliberately ambiguous, a lot of them, open to interpretation, whereby the WBC can act at their own, discretion in many situations. And therefore, legally, it's probably difficult to try and challenge them in a lot of instances. And of course, some people will be trying to challenge sanctioning bodies legally because they know the sanctioning bodies don't have as much money as they do, right? Like certain big promoters or some of the higher earning fighters, they feel like they can just drag the sanctioning body into a war of attrition, and the sanctioning body will give up because their money runs out more quickly. It doesn't necessarily mean the sanctioning body's in the wrong or that the fighter has been able to prove anything legally. They've just got deeper pockets. It is what it is. So let's see what happens with the Dillian Whyte situation, if he can get it resolved with the WBC and get that mandatory called, or as he has been saying over the past few weeks or months, he'd like to be elevated to full champion and then face whoever, Deontay Wilder immediately in a mandatory defense, or perhaps even face Deontay for the vacant belt. If they can strip Tyson Fury and make him, champion in recess or something. I don't know, have Whyte and Wilder fight for the vacant thing. So anyway, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Come and join me on Patreon and access my weekly no-holds-barred, censorship-free podcast where we lift the lid on a wide range of controversial topics. It's not mainstream friendly, it's not politically correct, but that's the whole point. We dare to stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. Just head on over to my Patreon page and select the tier called Hatman Hot Topics. You'll gain access to a minimum of 2 hours of exclusive content every single week, including podcasts, videos, interviews, live stream Q&A sessions, as well as my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. Not to mention a vast back catalog of hundreds of hours of previous episodes. You can listen via the Patreon app with the option to download in high quality MP3. We've also got a Discord server where you can come and chat and hang out with myself and other members. There's no contract, no commitment, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.